What's up, everybody? It's your boy Coop here with Unfair Sports, and as a content guy for the University of Oklahoma, I cover the team from all aspects: recruiting, team news, performance. But I'm also a parent, and I've often thought about what it looks like when parenthood, recruiting, and fandom mix. So I'm doing this series called Inside the Sooner Family. This is going to give Sooner parents a chance to talk about their experiences in recruiting, discussions on culture, NIL, and lending their most prized possessions to a program, often quite a distance away. So now, let's go inside the Sooner family. What's up, everybody? Today we're joined by Reggie Powers Jr., father of Reggie Powers III, freshman safety at the University of Oklahoma. Man, Reg, how you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm glad I got to meet you and Jay at the spring game in person. So that was cool. I followed your contact because being from Ohio, I just try to listen to what's going on in the Sooner Nation during the recruiting process, and you were two of the guys that I would listen to see, what's going on because with me being Ohio, I'm not tapped in. So it was a pleasure to meet you, and it's a pleasure to be on here with you today, man.
I'm not gonna lie. I screenshot your tweet, and I think I shared this with you back then. But you said, went to Oklahoma for the spring game, got to meet Jay and Coop from Unfair Sports, and then you also went into Coach B and everything like that. And I was like, to be mentioned with those guys, much less first, was that was an honor. So man, I'm honored to have you on here too, man. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of reasons why I'm doing these, and I've shared some of those things. But it's hard for some of these recruits and these players to go back into the beginning of their lives and talk about how things got started because they got a lot of interviews going on. So, man, I'm gonna start out this way. I asked Jay Woolard, the same question. A lot of the times when you're watching your kid as a young athlete, you look and you're like, oh man, I see little Michael Vick there. I see little Ed Reed. I see. You get excited, and it doesn't always turn out that way. Obviously, Reggie is on an upward run right now. But when did the whole thing with you start? When did you say, I might have myself a little bit of a football player here?
Well, to be honest, so at maybe 4, he started flag football. And his first time he touched the ball at practice, it was a touchdown. First time he touched the ball in the game, it was touchdown. And then once he started tackle football at first grade, he was the backup quarterback. And the first time he got the ball, it was a 65-yard touchdown. So I knew I had a football player early. And what I'm saying, early, but as far as school and stuff like that, I didn't think anything about that early. But I was like, oh, he's good. And then in middle school, he dominated Pee Wee football, got to middle school, and then it was okay, I can see him going to school for free. And so about 7th grade, when what he did in Pee Wee kept translating to the upper middle school, and then the high school was probably 7th grade. I was I can see him going to school for free because he was always a good size, and he had instincts and stuff like that. It's stuff that wasn't taught to him. It was just he understood, and watching him watch football games and stuff like that when he was real little, oh, that's a fumble, or he didn't catch that. When they do reviews, he would get mad because they called something a catch that wasn't a catch, or was a fumble, wasn't fumble. He would get mad early on stuff like that. So I was this kid's a little different there.
So you're saying Reg 3, after his playing days, he's probably going to be an official, or something like that, because he's got an eye for that stuff.
Well, yeah, so I don't know about an official, because if he's like me, he wouldn't have the patience. My mom's always said, talking about me, you should be a referee. I was I'd be kicking people out immediately. I'm not the biggest support. I love the game, but anybody talking to me crazy is you're gone.
Yeah.
Tech, personal foul, get out of here. So I don't know if he'll have the patience if he's like me.
As a ball knower, it's hard for a yard bird to be chirping at you from behind the scenes, not knowing what actually looks. So those are tough. So you see this, you see these flashes, and you're like, man, there's some potentials there. It's hard because as a man and as a father, you know that like growing them to be a contributing member of society, you know, with a decent head on their that's you know, that's the main thing for us. But also as an athlete and as, you know, a fan of sport, you start going, man, well, you know, how do I get my hands in here and kind of help him foster this and curate this and craft this you know, this professional athlete. So when did that stuff start, you know, for Reggie? Because some people it's early, some people it's a little bit later.
Honestly, about third grade, like I said, he started off, he was really good in sports. And then one of the more popular trainers in the area kind of noticed him. And actually the gym I work at now, the owner, his son, Caden Ellerby, who's a 2025 track and basketball guy, they were really good early. And that guy, Tremaine Hall, he used to he would say, hey, you should come work out with us and stuff like that. So like Reggie started probably like working out and like training, footwork, agility, all that about like 8 years old. Like he was like really early, like everyone saw like that kid's different. So like about 8, he's been doing footwork training, all that stuff since he was 8 years old, man.
That's crazy. So you got the footwork training and everything like that. When did you start honing in on defensive back or safety?
That kind of he was always physical. So when we started, you know, I was an assistant coach when he started football at 5 or 6, I can't remember, like tackle, maybe 6. And like he was physical right away. Like we had to teach him stuff like that, teach him like form and all that stuff. It was just like, wow, man. But like, so he started off because in Ohio where we are, they call it Bantam. That's first and second grade. So he's first grade playing with first and second graders. So he started off at like corner. Like that was his first position, was corner. And then the next year he moved to safety. And literally he's been playing safety his whole life till now in Oklahoma. And like he played offense too because he was like a good athlete. So, you know, they always put a good athlete on offense playing quarterback or running back. But like he's been a DB since he was in second grade, man. He's been a safety since he was in second grade.
Wow, that's I mean, he's good at it. So that's the he's been practicing that craft for a while. All right, so something that I'm assuming that did not start in second grade is the recruiting process. When did that type of thing start happening? Because I mean, mentally you might be starting to prepare for it early, but like when did it actually start?
Well, so freshman year he started going on. He still played freshman ball, so he started going on camps with some of the local athletes. So like we went to Clemson, South Carolina, stuff like that, and people noticed that he was developed early at schools. I remember South Carolina was like, you know, we're going to keep an eye on him. But like he started his sophomore year. He did start, I think after the first game, he might have started the second game, and then he started the rest of his career. So he got his first offer after his sophomore year. So like here we'll have like showcases where it's like the league has a showcase where, you know, schools can come in and see like everybody in the league for like an hour time period on the same day. So like spring, you know, there's about 8 different schools. So he got his first offer was UMass about a week before that because the UMass, he's still there, like the linebacker safeties coach who has this area is from the Dayton, Ohio area. So he kind of recruits the Ohio area. So he's got his first offer from UMass. And then once he had that first showcase, he did really good. And I think he might have picked up 5 offers that day. So it was UC when Fickle was still there. Okay. And then he got Toledo, Ball State, which is MAC, and Eastern Kentucky or something like that. So it started like basically, you know, I didn't play football at his level. So I was thinking maybe after his junior year. So like it started right after his sophomore year, like it way faster than I thought it was going to be. And then it just took off from there.
So one of the questions that I find super intriguing is you're hearing from so many different staffs, and when you're starting a dating relationship or a job interview, you kind of got to put your like best who you are forward, even though it's not always entirely accurate. But like, what's the difference between when you're hearing all these coaching staffs? Were there things as a parent that you continued to kind of pick up on, or things that you wanted to hear that stood out more than others?
Well, I think that was more like once we started like going to some campuses and like being in person, because like on the phone or something like that, somebody may offer him because they stopped at the high school and then call me later. That's one thing, but like you could just see who was more interested in him. Like, you go to a campus, you go to a junior day or anything, a game visit, you can see, okay, the head coach and position coach are with this kid over here. And then, there's a recruiter with this guy. And then, what I'm saying? You can see who's with who. So like that's something that I noticed earlier. I was like, okay, you can see who their big dogs are and who they're interested in, and like who's just like, we'll see how they develop. So like once I started seeing stuff like that, so like Cincinnati was real aggressive early. They would come to, they're 45 minutes away. So they would come to the school. Max, who is at Wisconsin now, would check in with me and stuff like that. So it's like when it started to become like multi-layer, where it's not just talking to him or texting him. And then when we get on campus, you can kind of feel. We went to Tennessee, we went to a lot of schools like that. And you can just tell who's truly interested and who's just, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you pick up on that right away. So that's something that I tried to point out to him as well, is that, don't just be excited by the jersey or who it is. It's like, how do they treat you? And how do you, when you're in their presence, how are they reacting with other kids? How are they reacting with you? So that's something that I would notice. Like if it was genuine, or like, do they feel like they're just repeating the same stuff that they say to other kids?
Everybody.
Yeah.
So that rolls into the next piece this is obviously the future for your son. Mm-hmm. And though you're not separating him as he leaves for campus, but like, how hard is that to really just try to let him have his own experience, but at the same time, make sure that you're kind of pointing things out? Because there's a balance there. And we hear about some things where it's all about the pops or the uncle or something like that. And then you hear things where it's like, well, this kid's getting to make his own decision. And it's always, so as a fan, you're always following those things and going, how did you manage that?
So luckily for him, me, his mom, his support system, like we're all college graduates. We're kind of financially like good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not rich, but like we're okay. So like it wasn't going to be our way out. You know what I'm saying? Like he was going to be able to go to school whether he played sports or not. So that was a pressure that we didn't have. So luckily for him, it was all about him and not where I wanted him to go or who was going to give him money or stuff like that. So what I just tried to help him with, because like, he really could be a class of 2025. He started school early. So what I tried to teach him is just how to interact with adults, because it could be a 45-year-old talking to a 15-year-old. Like they know the game. So like, I just tried to provide him backup. Like, hey, you want to make sure when they reach out to you that you are making sure that you're responding properly and not talking to them like you're a 15-year-old kid. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not what's up or what up or like stuff like, hey, coach, how you doing? Like I tried to like teach him like that aspect of stuff, and to like make sure that he understood when they're talking to him, to like really listen to what they're saying, and how often they're reaching out, if they want you to come to campus, if they want you to camp, different stuff like that, to just see what their true interest is, and just kind of like support him and like educate him. Like, hey, I haven't been in your spot as far as football, but I have interacted with adults. I've had meetings and stuff like that, so I know how to interact. So I tried to give him game on like that type of stuff, and make sure you're responding to everybody, because it may be a school you're not interested in, but by the time you're a senior, you don't know where that coach is going to be. Yeah. So if you burn a bridge at him because it's at a MAC school or something like that, and then he's in the SEC, he's not going to when you want to, hey, I want to come visit your school, he'd be like, you know what I'm saying?
I remember you.
Yeah. So we tried to educate him on that, and like just making sure like he wasn't like chasing a jersey, and like how to, you need to go to these schools and see the campus. Like, do you want to live there? It's more than just what you see on TV. It's the fit of the defense. Where do they want you to play? Do you want to live there? Do you want to play for that coach? If that coach leaves, do you want to still be there? Different stuff like that. Just try to make them look past just right now and like where you're going, not just where you are.
And you did a great job at that, because when we got to meet him at the spring game, me as an ex-athlete, and I mean, I'm 42, so it's not like I'm a kid anymore, but he was, yes sir, thank you, Mr. Cooper. And I was like, no, dude, just call me Coop, like that's fine. And so I had to walk him back a little bit for me personally. But you guys did a hell of a job. I appreciate those things so much. So Toledo starts calling in, you get Cincinnati, you see some of these things elevating. Again, you're trying to keep them away from like, don't just look at the jersey right now. Like, those things change. When did Oklahoma first reach out, and was it Coach Hall?
It was Coach Hall. I would say August of going into his senior year. He started noticing, okay, like 4 of them just followed me. So like, we know, we he had been further enough in the process where he's like, if 4 or 5 people start following you, you're on their board. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Coach Hall started reaching out, and then Coach Venables, I remember him, he was at school and sent me a screenshot, was when Coach Venables had DM'd and said, hey, you interested in being a Sooner? Said, like, you better tell that man, hell yes. So, it was a good process. It was Coach Hall, Coach Venables, Coach JP, Lossman. They would stay in constant contact with him, and I think he got the offer in like September or something like that. But like, they did their due diligence of making sure the family was right. He had the good intentions, the right mindset. Did the background checks with his football coaches, head coach, position coach, coordinator, all that stuff, to just make sure it's a good fit. Like, the dude, like, they already looked at the film and said, the player, okay, he's good. What about the dude? So they did a good job of that. They did a good job, because like, they would, Coach Venables and Coach JP would FaceTime me when they're about to start practice and stuff like that. They're on the field. You see them doing the Sooner Jacks and all that stuff in the background. So they did a good job, including everybody in it.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. JP Lossman is one of the guys that I think a lot of people he gets lost, but I mean, he is an absolute glue figure in this staff. I love Coach Lossman.
No, he's solid.
So you bring up a good point, because Brent Venables, I mean, he came in and said he was going to recruit a different way than what we were used to, right? It was something completely different, but he said he wanted to recruit leaders, great men, people who had high character. So, I mean, number one, I congratulate you and Mom, because, I mean, you guys raised that man. You raised him. He had to make his own choices, but you guys did a great job with that. So, I mean, that's something that's got to make you proud as a parent to know, and that's a focal point of the Sooner recruiting staff, that you guys did your job before you even knew that was an option.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So like, Coach Hall told me, like, everybody we checked with, the school counselors, all that stuff, like, everybody gave him like good reports and stuff like that about how Reggie behaved, how he interacted and stuff like that. So that's stuff that he's doing, well, not just with me, but just athletes are doing, like, when the parents aren't around. So like, that's what you really want to, how they act in front of you, but like, when you're not around, how are they? So that's always good to hear as a parent. So
for you as a parent, you're letting your son have this own thing, but like, for you, what were the top 3, just make or break things that you wanted to see for when, a school where Reggie was going to
go? Were they all in on him? That like, they truly, like, wasn't like, you hear the term like depth piece or something like that. Like, no, do you think this kid is going to be a high level player in your program? So that, and then, what he thought about the fit, because like, he got because he played so many positions, people were recruiting him at different things. Like some of them wanted to be like an outside linebacker where he would need to get to like 225 or something like that. Or, he'd be mixing in with the linemen a lot. And some, okay, can he play deep safety? So the fit for him, and then was he comfortable like at that campus? Because what I've learned and what he learned and what I tell some of my athletes is like, you got to go to these campuses so you can see if you want to live there or not. So I kind of recognize that he really doesn't like big cities, you know what I'm saying? So like the campuses he's like the most are like a good sized campus, but they're like off to themselves. They're not like a bunch of one ways going this way and all that stuff. And like in like downtown and stuff like that, he didn't really ride with that, but you don't know until you go.
Yeah. 100%.
So like, the two places that he went where he felt most comfortable was like Michigan State, where he committed there. And then they had their issues, but it's like the same. East Lansing is like Norman. So when he got to Norman, I saw right away that same glow that he had at Michigan State. Like, I feel comfortable here, blah, blah, blah. Like, he had that in Norman. So, like, I was good. Once he got on campus, if he liked the area, if he liked the coaches and stuff like that, I was good.
So you bring up Michigan State, and that's one that I think a lot of people would like to hear about because you bought in, you see that campus, that traditionally that's a great program. And so you guys committed to Michigan State. When you guys called and Reggie committed, what was that process like? Like, was he 100% all in at that moment, or was it maybe not 100%?
So no, so like he got the offer at like one of those showcases, like I said. So showcase going to his junior year, he hadn't talked to Michigan State or anything like that, but the DB's coach was there, offered him right away. And like he was excited like right away. It was like different. I don't know, if he just vibed with the coach or not.
Yeah.
But then once we scheduled an official visit, and that was our first time there on that official visit. Like he felt so comfortable. Like Friday night, he was like, "I'm going to commit here." Yeah. So he's like, and that because he was interacting, like he's kind of quiet. So like I saw him going out and talking to people a lot, and like it was just like he was like with his high school teammates. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how the vibe was for him. So I'm like, oh shit, this kid likes it. You know what I'm saying? So no, he's all in. He's not one of the guys that was like, I'm gonna keep all my options open. Or, I'm going to still do visits and stuff like that. Because when he committed there, that was his third. Back then, you could only do 5 official visits. Yeah. So he did Northwestern, Pitt, then Michigan State. And then the next weekend, he was supposed to be at Cincinnati. And the weekend after that, Ohio State. And once he committed to Michigan State on that Saturday, on the way home, he called Cincinnati and Ohio State and said he wasn't coming. So it's like he's not a flip flopper until he saw like this coach is not going. And I was trying to tell him like even when Michigan State was going through their things and like Coach Tucker kind of was removed. He hadn't been fired yet. I was like, you got to understand when stuff like this happens, son. Like the head coach, usually the coordinator and the position coach aren't going to be there. So the 3 people you committed to, they ain't gonna be there, man. You know what I'm saying? They're not going. And they hadn't been let go yet, but like they're not going to be there. They're going to bring a whole new staff because they're going to have to try to change the culture and stuff like that. And then, even though Oklahoma was already talking to him in August, that's when he was like, okay, let me see what's going on. So that's when like he was really interested in Oklahoma and UCLA.
Yeah, there was talk of Reggie. There were a couple of other guys that had been. David Stone was looking at Michigan State at that point. And, talking about that. And so when the Michigan State and Sooners were overlapping quite a bit. So when all of a sudden we start hearing about Reggie Powers III and Jay and I started digging in the film, we were like, "Ooh, Paul's at it again," because that boy's fire. So you had that conversation with him about potentially what's going on. So when Oklahoma now your official visit at Oklahoma. Did you see the same things from the Michigan State deal where he's, integrating himself into the crew and out there having conversations with the players, or did he take it differently the second time?
So the first time we went there, that was on our own time. We did an unofficial. So it was just me and him that went there. Maybe the UCF game, I think it was our first one. Yeah. Yeah, and I saw a lot of the same things. Now it's different because it was a game day versus official visit where you got a full 48 hours. But those damn 11 o'clock kickoffs, man. So we got there like
we took care of that. We took care of that.
Yeah, the game started. The game hadn't started yet, but like we didn't get to see the pregame warm-ups and stuff like that. Like we were literally off the plane. But the game day environment, seeing everybody, the ladies had the boots on and the cowboy hats and stuff like that. And then we were able to see Coach V before he was in his own office, and like he doesn't usually do this, but he wanted to see you before the game. So like we were able to go talk to Coach Venables when he was in his office and doing his prayers, doing his pregame stuff like that. And like that made him, once again, that made him feel special. Like, okay, they're doing what they can now. It's time crunch, but like they're fitting you in. So like that was important. And then like the atmosphere was great. Of course, the guys played a tough game. And then afterwards, when he hung out, I think we went to dinner, and I think Billy picked him up. So he hung out with Billy afterwards. And then Sunday when I got back, he felt really good, and he committed that Sunday, man. So when he doesn't mess around. If he feels right, he's like, yeah.
It's time to go. Yeah. Well, then let me ask you this. Have you followed Oklahoma football like pretty closely before this? Okay, so that just a few years ago, as many as 4 or 5, safety wasn't exactly a position on this team that Sooner fans like talking about because it was not a strength. Now you've got Billy, you've got RSJ, you've got Peyton, and Bogo and Reggie are the next guys coming up too. This is now one of the stronger positions on this team. Like, what do those conversations look like on like, hey man, like these guys are setting the bar. Like, are you ready to take it and elevate it? Because I've made comments that the most unathletic players on this team might be our starters because of how and it's not a knock to them. It's just the trend that is going on. So what does that conversation look like?
So one thing is like him and competing ain't never been a problem. Like that dude's like, that's one thing I don't, hard work, stuff like that. Like I taught him that early, but like that's him now. So he's going to compete. He's going to work hard. And to be honest, like when he was like junior, senior, I was like, if he goes somewhere, just because he was younger, because like I said, he could have been in the 2025 class. I was like, if he goes somewhere in red shirts for a year and then goes out and starts 3 or 4 years, I don't care. Like I've won because he's going to school for free. I've won.
Yeah.
So like it's for him at that. So like, if it was all about starting, him and Boganowski could have went to 50 different schools and started. Like not tooting on horn, but like
it's just
it's true.
That's a bookshelf behind you. It just is what it is.
Yeah. So Coach Hall, he said, I want you to come in and compete. I want you to prepare like day one, you're going to be the starter. That's how I want you, to put the work in. I'm sure he tells all of his athletes that, and that's kind of the approach Reggie already had, but that's kind of the approach he takes. So like, and then me being a coach too is like, hell, I want the best players to play right away. I'm not my kids should be doing this. I've never been that, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, Bowman, Spears, Peyton, dudes are good, man. Let them dudes rock, and then let him fit in where he fits in, and then get his opportunities, and then when it's his time, he'll be ready. Throwing somebody out in the big, in a big time program, and they're not really ready, they'll get exposed. So I'd rather him be able to learn. The other dudes hold it down until he's ready, and then play. So that's the conversation we really didn't have to have because he was going to work his butt off regardless. And it's like, you got 3 NFL dudes in front of you. It is what it is.
Yeah. And you talked about this a couple times. So you get his go at it. And I know that you and I have talked about some of the coach's opinions on him. And that's awesome. But like his go for it, that's set. That they were going to take care of him, and Coach Paul and Coach Venables and Coach Alley, they're going to take care of him being a good player. OU is different because they talk about developing men of God, men who are an asset to the community. And then there's the soul mission piece. I mean, so if someone's watching this and they're, they've heard this pitch and their kid's still going through the process, like, what would you say to them, as far as like, hey man, it's something they talk about, I'm still yet to see it, or no, this is real.
Yeah. So like that part of it, like I said, like you said, the football part, I know he's going to be fine, but like developing the person afterwards because a lot of these kids, once college is over, it's just like high school for some kids. Sometimes that's the furthest you go.
Yeah.
So preparing the man to be able to know how to interview, know how to communicate, know how to network. And like, so I may be just like, I can't really cook, you know what I'm saying? So some of the things for me as a dad was like, they open up restaurants and they show them how to make stuff from scratch and stuff like that. So like that shit I didn't have, stuff I didn't know how to do. So, to be, you want your kids to be better than you. Right.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that, simple stuff, know how to tie a tie. A lot of kids don't know how to tie a tie. You know what I'm saying? Don't know how to do things like that. So like preparing him to be a man outside of football, it's like, of course, as a parent, like his dad, that's my job primarily. Right. Yeah. I'm not going to depend on a teacher or anybody else to kind of show him how to be a man. But like, as a secondary, that's the type of stuff that I'm looking for. It's like, you're going to make sure, okay, he's going to play hard. He's going to do all that stuff. But like, are you going to help him be a better person? So when he's gone, I don't have to worry about him. And that's one thing, like, I don't worry about anything. I still give him game on how to interact with, people, stuff like that, ladies, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's still going to come from me. So like the other stuff, I just, I don't worry about him at all with him being there and like the opportunities that he's going to have and how they're going to teach him different stuff outside of football. Like that's fantastic for me.
So, he's done soul mission stuff. They go on mission trips. Has he shared any, the stories back from there?
Well, he hasn't gone on any missions yet. That's something I was like, me and his mom both said, it's like, next off season, we want you to do that because like, one, it's a great opportunity. And it's always good to see stuff outside of your normal world. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just with me, like I've been able to travel to different places and like from the airport to the resort, it's a totally different world sometimes when you go on those back roads and 10 hours. So it's like you need to really see what's out there so you can appreciate what you have and then also realize there's people that you may be able to help. You know what I'm saying? Interacting with them, kids, stuff like that to show, that may be something he wants to do later on. It's like, be somebody like works with kids or, have a foundation later on, things like that. It's like, it's just good opportunity to be able to learn outside of your circle, basically.
100%. Well, it's, we are a week into fall camp now. It's talk season is over. Oklahoma's getting a little, I don't know if you call it disrespect or just not the attention, except for on the defensive side. What stories has he shared with you at this point about fall camp, and Schmitty and everything like that?
Well, as far as Schmitty, like those workouts are tough. But like he knew that going into, and like, like I said, he's been working out and training since he was 8. So it's like, of course it's another level, but like his baseline was a little bit higher. So, then he said, basically the difference is like the volume and the intensity of the workouts is a lot different, but he's been able to manage those. I don't think he's had throw up yet or anything like that. I think he's been good. He said a couple of his guys have had to let it, lose their lunch a little bit, a couple times workouts, but he hasn't. But that's been good. And then I know I talked to him, because I follow, I listen to you guys and different stuff and look at different message boards just so I can be tapped into what's going on. So I was like, I texted him like a couple weeks ago. I was like, yeah, I know you got to stomp Texas and Missouri, right? He was like, oh yeah, we know. We know. So like, they talk amongst themselves and like, obviously you want to win every game, but like there's a little extra for those. They know that. So, and it's just as watching, even though I'm from Ohio, so most people here are Ohio State or Michigan, but like his his godfather is a Florida State fan, and I've got 2 friends that are Sooner fans. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's a national brand. So like for me to like when people say like 6-6 and 7-5, I'm like,
come on now.
It's like it's not. They're going to be them in Texas are going to be pushing teams down, not going underneath it. You know what I'm saying? They're like they're going to be. That don't mean everybody's going to go 12-0 or anything like that. But it's like, come on now. Like it just tells you about like what I just said about Soul Mission. Like some fan bases and some conferences are just in their bubble and they have never watched football outside of their bubble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then my favorite team being Washington. So that for me, I know the Pac-12. So I kind of look national wide, and like for some people to be like, they're not going to be ready. It's like, oh, you haven't paid attention. Like they've known they're coming to the SEC. They've kind of been recruiting towards that.
Yeah.
And then just like one day they're like, oh, we're in a different conference. Huh. You know what I'm saying? So Coach Venables has been getting ready. That's why everybody's getting bigger and bigger, and who they're recruiting is bigger. So they're going to be just fine.
And when Coach B got here, I mean, I always use this analogy. It's like if you're going to do a lot of stuff in your house and you've got the capability to stay somewhere else, it's better to rip everything out and then start building back in instead of trying to move and shift. And so that's what Coach B had to do, is he had to pull everything out the house. He had to gut the house. And it was easier to go out and recruit the higher caliber athlete than to take, just the remnants in some cases and hope that you could get them to a spot. And so, listen, we know that we've been coming to the SEC. A&M broke the news for us all, a few years back, and now they won out. So tell me this. Give me your prediction. Are you ready to make a prediction for the season? Because, fans are going to be watching this, and they're going to be like, what is Reggie's Pops think that is about to happen? So what do you think Sooners end up record-wise this year?
With it being football, so you never know health.
Yeah.
But if we stay relatively healthy and avoid like the season long, like if a certain guy in a certain position has to miss 1 or 2 weeks, I think our depth is across the board is fine. I say between like 10-2 and 9-3. So because there's going to be some tough games, but like they'd be like, oh, the SEC schedule, like that don't mean everybody's good, man.
Yeah.
Like, will they have more NFL players on the roster? But just because the patch on your jersey don't mean you're good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's teams last year that were 3-5 in the conference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like everybody's not great. Their top end is high. You got Georgia, Bama, LSU. They're always going to be, relevant. But like everybody ain't good, man.
Yeah. It's and like you said, it's Oklahoma is in Texas. Well, my own opinions there, but Oklahoma is going to insert themselves in, and just like an Excel spreadsheet, somebody's bumping down. Somebody's going to go from 5 to 6.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's it. What games do you have kind of circled for? Most fun that you're wanting to see, and then what games you're going to be coming to?
Well, I've always said, I told him I was like, I'll do first home game, first SEC game. Got to go to Red River Rivalry, last home game, and then the closest away game. So I'll be at Temple, Tennessee, Red River Rivalry, Missouri, and then Bama is the ones I'll be in person for sure. Like I've already got those locked in. And then I'll make sure those other Saturdays, whatever time he's playing, I'll be watching. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to the road game versus Missouri. And then I think all of them are be good. The SEC, the Tennessee game, just because it's the first SEC game, that's going to be different. It's going to have a different energy to it.
Coach Michael coming back home.
Yeah, all that stuff is going to be good. So there's a lot of ones that's like there's not a top one. It's just each one of those games is going to have a little bit different oomph to it for different reasons. You know what I'm saying? So we got to put Missouri in their place. You know what I mean? Got to humble them a little bit. And all you got to do, put it on them one time. They'll go back to where they're supposed to be. And then the Alabama game, that's to be – I want the Sooners to win because my kid plays. But like I said earlier, I'm a Huskies fan, so I want DeBoer to lose.
There you go. You ripped my heart out. And I got to say, Bless you. Sorry, baby Jesus. Pac-12 is dead. So,
Yeah.
it's something different now. Well, man, Reggie, I appreciate you hopping on with me. You're a ball knower, you're a parent, you're a quality individual. So, you guys bring so much quality and value to this program. And man, I can't wait to watch, Reggie 3, become a better player every single day. And we're excited to have you as part of the family.
I appreciate it, man. We're grateful to be here. Me and my wife, his mom, we're all happy to be here. My dog Shiloh just poked her head. She sees me talking. Shiloh's got a Sooner jersey too. She'll be wearing on game days.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I like it. I got a Sooner jersey for one of mine, but the other one won't wear the shirt. So it's all good. But guys, if you have liked this video, obviously, Reggie is on Twitter. Reggie, give him the Twitter handle.
Mr. Powers Jr. Is my handle. I follow a lot of you guys. Just so show love. I appreciate everybody. Appreciate the fan base that's shown Lil Reg love, and just appreciate everything, man. We're blessed to be here.
Definitely. And I'll be when I drop the video, I'll tag you, and I'm gonna be tagging Coach Hall, Coach Venables, stuff like that. So guys, hop in the comments. This is part 2 of our Inside the Sooner family. I've got a great relationship with a couple of these guys. Jay was supposed to be on with us today, but his wife gave him a little to-do list, and so he's going to take care of her. But
life happens.
It keeps on happening. So hit that like, hit subscribe. This is one that I encourage you to share, not because you care or not, but this is something that we want to show our fan base, the behind the scenes, who's behind these great men that are coming in with the staff. So again, guys, appreciate you pulling up for Unfair Sports. Reggie, thank you again, sir. And stay tuned, because we'll be dropping this one and a few more here in the next couple days.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, brother, man.
Take care, bro.